I'm Billam-Smith. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Okay, so this is one of them fights where I really wish that I'd made notes because I'm having to memorise all this here, which is Lawrence Okolie gets dropped down in round number 4, round number 10, round number 11, gets a point deducted in round number 5 and round number 7, and very, very lucky to not get disqualified. Did I get that right? I think I got that right. Anyway, this was a war. This was an absolute brutal backwards and forwards war. Now, I don't know what the official scorecards are. I don't think I need to. I think it's very, very clear for anybody who's anybody to know that Billam-Smith defeated Lawrence Okolie. Lawrence Okolie, for some reason, couldn't block that left hook of Billam-Smith. Now, you could argue the point and say, well, maybe the last 2 knockdowns weren't really knockdowns, but for me, it was more a case of Lawrence Okolie, he was just all over the place. You know, he got hurt numerous times. Now, to be fair, Lawrence Okolie, he did hurt Billam-Smith as well. In round number 1, he hurt him. In round number 11, he literally went for him. He really did. And in round number 12 as well. But Billam-Smith, I think just his sheer will to stay on his feet at times is what won him this fight, ultimately, as in to not get knocked out. I mean, this wasn't Kronk at all. This wasn't, I mean, Sugar Hill's been training Lawrence Okolie. This just was not Kronk. It really wasn't. He got done. He got absolutely done. And he's very lucky to not get disqualified with the amount of times that the referee had to warn him about hugging. It was ridiculous. I mean, Lawrence Okolie, he's been active long enough now. He's been a professional long enough now. He's been a world champion. He's won all the belts all the way through. He's done an absolutely fantastic. You shouldn't be hugging. You just shouldn't be. Once in a while to get yourself out of scrapes, okay. But the amount of times that he was hugging was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Billam-Smith, he had his game plan with Shane McGuigan and he executed it very, very well. Very well. Now, you could argue maybe that Lawrence Okolie didn't rest enough since his last fight. You could argue that one for sure. But there's always going to be some kind of excuses. But at the end of the day, Billam-Smith was the better man. And he'd done Lawrence Okolie. He deserved to win that fight. He did. Now, there's going to be arguments as well that maybe Lawrence Okolie, he should have been disqualified for the amount of hugging. That's always going to be the case, but the referee was very, very lenient. This is a world title fight, and it's in a stadium. This is the main event of a Sky Sports show. So the referee gave Lawrence Okolie more than enough opportunities. More than enough. But CBS, Billam-Smith, does what many people didn't think he was going to do, which is beat Lawrence Okolie. I think a lot of people felt that Lawrence Okolie was going to land that big right hand at some point, but I think he got to a point where, as much as Billam-Smith was getting tagged at times, he knew what to expect. He knew it. All he had to do was lift his shoulder a little bit, tilt his head a little bit, just to soften the blow. Don't be wrong, I'm sure it hurt, and Billam-Smith did look hurt in that at times, but ultimately, and the new cruiserweight champion of the world in his hometown of Bournemouth. Big up to CBS. What's going to happen with Lawrence Okolie now? There's no rematch clause. I don't know. I don't know is the answer. I mean, Sky Sports have put a lot of money into him. What are they going to do now? Anyway, what can you do? Lawrence Okolie has lost his world title, for sure, by Billam-Smith, former sparring partner, gym mate. Anyway, congratulations to CBS. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you next video.